Hey there, we're Talia and Ophira Edut, identical twins and astrologers. Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, where we bring the stars down to Earth. Hello, everyone. It is the week of July 8th to 14th, and Tali here in Seattle.
And Ophi in New York. We're doing it together this week.
So this week's theme is self-compassion. How kind are you being to yourself? How hard are you being on yourself? Has perfectionism crept in? It can this week, and we're going to tell you why and how to greet the planets that come for your self-worth and start telling you to weigh it against some BS standards and rules that just don't suit you anymore.
I can relate to that for sure. It's been a year. It's a year of the dragon. Let's just re-presence that, which is a year of deep transformation in the lunar zodiac. The dragon is the only non-animal mythical creature, and it really is kind of like a phoenix in a lot of ways, like going into that cave and coming out, inside out transformation, breathing fire, shedding scales. So like, how many people feel like they've had to summon the courage of a fire-breathing dragon when you just wanted to go hide in your cave, or you're shedding layers of yourself while having to be out there bold and courageous. I mean, it's such a year when we could be hard on ourselves. We could give into fear, and many of us do. And I mean, I guess it depends on the hour or the minute of the day, but I have found myself constantly having to do a lot of mindset work on a daily basis just to navigate that energy. And I know a lot of people are saying they are too.
Absolutely. I know. It's especially like mid-year right now. I think we're in, if this year does take that Phoenix theme, we're kind of feeling like we're in the ashes a bit. And the shift a month ago of Jupiter out of Taurus and into Gemini is something that we're all processing. Jupiter in Gemini is not the happiest place because Jupiter is the planet of luck and its home base is Sagittarius, the very opposite sign of Gemini. So it's in detriment in Gemini, meaning it feels a little suppressed. Jupiter wants to swing for the fences and Gemini wants to analyze every play. And so
get to first base.
Right. It can take forever. Gemini kind of benches Jupiter, if we're using a baseball metaphor, because, there's just that anxiety and that fear and that, should I do that? Should I take a risk? What will happen? Overthinking. We have a lot of friends in fashion and retailers who are saying spending is slowed down and business is tight for a lot of people right now. And I do think it's a bit of analysis paralysis, an unwillingness to take a risk without overthinking, and a little bit of faith. I'm not saying everyone should go out and go spend a paycheck.
But it's true. Jupiter does rule faith and belief and optimism, and philosophy in Gemini is hard data analytical. So I was just rereading an interview I did with Mayim Bialik, who had me on her website, Grok Nation. She decided she wanted to try an astrology chart reading as a skeptic. And I was rereading it and reading how she was really grappling with some of the things I said. Like, she had me until this point, but then my scientific brain did this. And it was like, I felt like it was watching what Jupiter and Gemini is doing. You want to believe, but you can't. You can't reconcile it with what you know. That's really been on my mind too, because more than ever, we need to use what we call spiritual technology. Sometimes when we turn inward searching for answers, and our informational databases, our education, our knowledge is not cutting it. You still feel like the same kind of crap, even though you've tried to find answers and facts and figures. Some people find comfort in that, but
didn't you say, Ophi, that 90% of decisions are made in the subconscious? You found a statistic,
I saw
right?
That. I think it's even 95%, and we don't realize it. We have this other drive that's running all the time. We think that we're, using our rational thinking minds, but there's actually a lot more intuition going on below the surface, whether we recognize it or admit it or know it or not. I think this mid-year point is really calling for us to lean into it's Cancer season, lean into the intuitive powers, but it doesn't have to be a full swan dive into the woo, but a little more of that. Let's get to that balance. So that brings us to this week's transits. We have 2 trines, which are cooperative angles between planets and water signs. And the first one on the 10th, on Wednesday, is between the Sun, which is our authority and leadership, and Saturn, which is also that sort of rational, pragmatic part of ourselves. And it's in water signs. The Sun is in Cancer, Saturn is in Pisces. They are talking to each other, working with each other. Both of them are associated with leadership. And I mean, you can't open a news feed without seeing the UK's elections, France moving to the far right, Israel, Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, and of course the disastrous June 27th debate, and Biden trying to restore faith in himself, and people wringing their hands about Donald Trump being reelected, and third-party candidate speculations, and all of it. It's like leadership is the focus, the topic du jour, and we knew that was going to happen. We named 2024 the year of transcendent leadership, and we are at a point where there's another thing to transcend, and one of those things is like our models of what a leader looks like. So with the Sun trine Saturn also rules aging. And, Joe Biden is a Scorpio. He's a water sign, and they do have 9 lives. So don't be surprised if he does make some kind of a comeback or recovery.
Yeah.
Like the gentle giant leader is going to be favored, at least this week, over the strong man archetype.
I was looking at the charts of Biden and Trump, and during the debate, and now this will have moved by the time the election comes around, but Biden is actually in his Neptune opposition. He was born with Neptune at 1 degree of Libra, and Neptune's now at 29 degrees of Pisces. So it's essentially an opposition. Neptune is the fog machine. It kind of is a Neptune transit will make you feel like you're lost in a dream state, make it really hard for
tripping on something,
whatever the case, like his inability to kind of grasp the words to say he does have a challenge with that to begin with. But it was exacerbated during the elections, though. Trump does have Jupiter and Uranus in his 10th house, which is the leadership house, but those could be kind of blowhard, chaotic planets too. So I mean,
that
no
could
doubt
really
about
go
it.
Either way. That could really it could favor him, but could also cause
Blow
a
up.
curveball disruption and everything. Jupiter can be ego. So yes, everybody we know is asking us about the election and what we think. And here's how I'm answering that. I'm saying, you know what? I can make my predictions, but this is a year of transcendent leadership. Let's step out of that dimension too and look at where can you make an impact? Because if you put all your energy into hand-wringing fear and worrying and stay in a passive state, you are just feeding that same energy. Can we come up with a new container to put our energy into too, to feed? Like the world needs a lot of things, a lot of things that you can make an impact on. Like where can you bring your superpowers to raise up the vibration? I don't want to sound too woo-woo again here, but
well, the reality is, according to TikTok, Gen X is waking up right now. I don't know if you guys have seen this hilarious
I love that they're
trend.
saying that, though. Like, when were any of us asleep? We've been working our asses off.
Exactly. It was like
you're waking up to us, people.
Exactly.
We have been here for years. Don't call it a comeback.
I know, it's so
Gen
funny.
Xer
Like
the LL Cool J.
Yeah, a pink-haired septum ring pierced Gen Zer posted on TikTok, if you haven't been following this, that like Gen X is the worst generation. And now there've been this hilarious, like, we are the most badass generation. We drank out of garden hoses. We were 30 years old and we were 12 and we're still 30 at age 50 because we're latchkey kids. Our parents said, don't come back home till the street lights are on. I mean, I've been cracking up, and now millennials are making posts like, why did you wake up, Gen X? It's like, millennials, exactly what Ophi just said. We have not been sleeping. We've been working because we like to work. But it is kind of interesting being a Gen Xer and now being in our 50s, where it's like, oh, wow, I guess Gen Xers struggle with the idea of being adults. Our whole youth was centered around like watching movies like 16 Candles and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where like the adults were just these like completely useless, clueless. So we're like, we're not going to be like that. We grew up on Madonna and Public Enemy, Fight the Power, like a virgin. Anyways, I do feel like no matter what generation you're in, however your wake up call comes, I really like what Ophi's saying is, so very true. We don't just have to sit there and TikTok, like wait for November 8th to come as if we're like passively waiting. We are co-creating with the universe. And I think the Sun-Saturn trine is really empowering. Like Saturn is this anchored sense of like legacy level power. Saturn's the elder, and the sun is lighting it up. Like,
it's that life force energy. I mean, it's what's your contribution? That's the question to ask yourself this week. And also, like, I personally, I'm going to worry less about Joe Biden's retirement and start retiring from these old, non-fluid, fixed models of what leaders look like, what power looks like, what it takes to make an impact. And just, you know what? Shut up and vote. That's all I can say. That was a Gen X moment. Just that's a Sun-Saturn trine.
Yeah.
Vote for F's sake.
Oh my God. I know. Exactly. Voting, telling your friends to vote, not buying into the hype that not voting is better than picking someone because they're old. The president is a figurehead anyways. Who's in the Senate? Who's in the courts? That's what makes the difference. And we're such a celebrity culture that we think the figurehead has all this power. How many handlers are behind the Kardashians? That is one big payroll, I promise you. So you're voting for an ideal in the age of Aquarius. What are your ideals? And hey, we still live in a two-party system. Which one is closest to your ideals? You're going to have to look at the big picture and everything. I'm tired of hearing people say, I guess someone planted this on social media. Oh, we're going to have money in our pockets if Trump is elected. He's bankrupt and broke and in debt up the wazoo. He's not going to put money in your pocket. You're going to put money in your pocket. Man, this Gen X is unleashed.
That brings us to the Venus-Neptune trine, the second trine on the 11th, on Thursday too, because there is like this temptation to be passive afoot also midweek. Like this week it's a thin line between manifesting and being passive. Like, yes, we have to believe this watery energy is like, there are things that are mysterious, non-scientific, unpredictable, and you can bend the universe a bit this week. You can turn tides, and you can also be delusional. And it's going to be a fine line between the two. So really just checking in with yourself.
Sometimes one of the ways to get yourself out of a fear spiral is to kind of try to drill down to what it is that you are fearing you won't have. Is it one of the three, basic needs of love, safety, and belonging? If this happens, do I fear a loss of love? Do I fear a loss of safety? Do I fear a loss of belonging? Those are very instinctual fears that we all have as humans. And okay, if I lose this relationship, Will I lose love? No, I can find love somewhere else. If this group rejects me for saying I'm still voting for Biden, does that mean I don't belong anywhere in the world? No, I just might have to get some new friends. I mean, it's yes, those are hard things to do, but there are always energies available to be created. And speaking of which, that leads us to what's going on later on Thursday. Is Venus heading after it trines Neptune and gets us a little bit delulu, but also soft and warm and fuzzy. It heads into Leo. Heart-centered, brave, fiery, passionate, fierce Leo until August 4th. So July 11th to August 4th. I love when Venus is in Leo. It's a playful time. It's a romantic time. It's definitely the summer loving signature. Now, last summer, we had a little bit of a
Right.
hard time enjoying
Venus was
Venus and Leo.
retrograde in Leo. Yes, let this be a makeup for those of you guys who did not have the hot whoever summer because of Venus.
The
It
hot
was
mess summer,
the hot
maybe.
mess summer, exactly. So, yes, but as soon as Venus goes into Leo, it's going to oppose Pluto, which is the shadowy transformational planet. So while it's gonna, we've got until August 4th to enjoy it, it might start with like, ooh, I got to take a look at like what these depths that I've been in. Venus in Cancer has been kind of, we probably don't even realize how intensely in our fears and feelings we've been. So it's almost like a little bit of a detox on the way out, I would say. Yeah, some of your shadowy thoughts and feelings and fears may come up at first. And then they'll
Just
move on like clouds that pass, hopefully. But don't be afraid to look at them. Pluto does have a message for you.
Yeah, and Venus
Yeah.
rules our values as well. It's not just love and romance. It's also our money and the things that we will spend time and cash on or invest in. And in Leo, there's room to create beauty and romance and a little theater with everything you do. So if you've kind of been like, I just don't have the patience to plan anything, or I'm just going to put on that same dress I always wear, or, Venus and Leo is a little bit of a show pony. So, where are there creative opportunities to generate money for yourself? Venus in Cancer is also a little, I think, responsible for any retail slumps because Venus in Cancer is a little bit like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose everything and wind up destitute. Whereas Venus in Leo is like, you know what? You only live once. Eat, drink, make merry. You kind of do need a budget though between July 11th and August
August
4th.
4th.
And don't go off the rails with that. Thankfully, we have a quarter moon in Libra on Saturday to help balance it all out, whether it's relationships that need a little reconstituting or some of our more decadent desires that we need to scale back on a bit.
The real message with the Libra quarter moon, too, is like, you don't have to do it alone. We had a Cancer new moon on July 5th, and that was, the start of the cycle that's going to culminate at the July 21st Capricorn full moon. It's the halfway point. And so it's balancing head and heart, balancing your emotions, which is Cancer, and then your kind of the facts and figures of Capricorn as well.
Okay, so we're a month away from our big Lionsgate event on 8/8. So 8 is the number of abundance and power in numerology. And 8/8 is a day where there's an alignment of Sirius, the spiritual sun, the Earth, and Orion's belt. So there's this whole energy within Leo season that is just set up to help us tap into both our spiritual riches and manifesting abundance in the outer world. So we are teamed up with astrology.com. If you haven't heard, we're doing a special Lionsgate ritual, and it's part of our Summer of Success Fest. Next week, we have a free event for the full moon in Capricorn, for the full buck moon. That's going to give you a little taste of what we're doing on 8/8. So make sure you go to tinyurl.com/success-fest, as in short for festival. And we're just going to drop that link in the show notes too. So you can jump into both of those.
And
And
the
really,
Lionsgate ticket holders will all get a copy of our upcoming book, The Astrology Advantage. If you have not yet ordered your copy, you can do that. We'll put that link in the show notes, but you'll get one with your Lionsgate ticket. And we're so excited. It's coming out August 27th. You can already find out about the I Am system. It's our new special shortcut for tapping into the power of your birth chart without having to become an astrologer or learn it. Not that we think there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes you just want that astrology advantage and to use it right at your fingertips. So that's what this book is all about. And we're so excited to be releasing it at the end of next month.
and don't forget the grand prize that we're going to be
course.
giving away. Everyone who joins the Lionsgate event is entered to be our grand prize winner of a trip to San Francisco to come and get a live reading from us, hang out in person, have dinner together, and just enjoy SF a little bit this fall. So that's all happening on August 8th. Go to that link in our show notes, tinyurl.com/success-fest, and get yourself signed up. We'll be back next week with more horoscope love. Until then, signing off.
Bye.
As always, thanks for listening. You can discover more of your star power at astrocell.com and be sure to follow us on social at AstroTwins. Join us next time for more cosmic fun.